We all go a little mad sometimes.
Did you know I'm utterly insane?
Whatever you do, don't fall asleep.
Be afraid. Be very afraid.
You know, it's Halloween. I guess everyone's entitled to one good scare, huh?
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
Look at me, Damien. It's all for you.
Look what you did to him.
Red rum, red rum, red rum.
Welcome back to Movie Mingle. I'm Caveman.
And I'm Maggie.
And today we've got a special Halloween bonus.
Hooray! And boo!
Spoooooooky.
We also have a very special guest joining us. Back again is my wonderful lifelong best friend, Jessie. Hi.
Hello.
She is here to talk with all of us about
Slither.
Slither.
We wanted to fill October with some more spooky.
Yeah, you know.
Because the other movies on the list were not. So we needed a bonus episode to kind of help celebrate Halloween. This kind of quickly came to us.
It did, yes. And I do appreciate the fact that when we went into creating this podcast and the timeline in which we were going to do it, we accidentally ended up lining up Midsommar to come out the day before the actual first day of summer.
Yep.
And now here we are having The Shining in October for Halloween and spooky season. It's all coincidental, but it's been working out pretty great. So we're really excited to sit here and talk about a delightfully little fun horror movie.
And one that probably a lot of people haven't seen.
No, yeah. And, of course, as it has been well established here, I do not do horror. I'm not a fan, but I do thoroughly enjoy a good horror comedy because at the very least, you know, the laughter and the sort of outrageous moments of horror comedies can keep me going through the bloods and guts and gore.
And I counted, I think there's only one jump scare.
Yeah?
In this movie, like a big one that made me jump because I always do. Which is why I'm also not a fan of horror. I don't think things flying at me unexpectedly is fun.
No.
Sometimes a little pee comes out, you know?
Do you remember back in your apartment in Upland when I came over one night, and I don't remember if it was me and Caveman or if it was just me, but we watched Paranormal Activity. And, like, I watched it through the Afghan on your couch so I could, like, view just what I wanted to.
A tiny pinprick.
Yeah, through fucking fabric.
That movie messed me up for weeks.
Yeah.
Like, I couldn't sleep. If a cabinet happened to not be all the way closed, I was out the door.
Yeah, right.
And, that's why
who
we
wants
don't
to
do
put
horror.
up with shit like that?
No.
Like, no. But the people that do like to put up with shit like that are weirdos.
Yeah.
Hi, Caveman.
Hi.
How's it going?
I love weird
Literally
shit like
wearing
that.
a Halloween shirt right now, too.
Well, not only is this movie kind of special for us because we've just always... It's been the one kind of scary movie that we all enjoy. But it's also James Gunn's directorial debut.
Yes.
For
Baby Gunn.
For cinema. For film. He had done TV shows and stuff like that before, and music video and something like that. James Gunn directed this and wrote it. This was his, like I said, first movie, and then after this he did Super, and then went right into the Guardians movies.
Which is nuts.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, from how I mean, it's not going to be like a $10 budget for Slither, but...
It's not going to be fucking Guardians. Yeah.
Momentously.
Quite momentous.
Monumentously? I don't know. English is hard.
I mean, you weren't born here.
No,
so.
it's not my first language.
Yeah.
So that's
we forgive you.
Excuse, not the shot I just took.
So James Gunn also wrote it. Some other kind of notable things that James Gunn had written, because he was a writer before he became a director, was he helped write Zack Snyder's Dawn of the Dead, which was also Zack Snyder's first movie. There is a fan base for Scooby-Doo, especially the Scooby-Doo movies.
There's a huge fan base for the Scooby-Doo movies.
The live-action Scooby-Doo movies,
which
with Sarah Michelle Gellar.
I think I've seen.
I've seen maybe bits and pieces, but I've never sat
wild.
down with intention.
Yeah.
There are many people who believe that is still his best. But more power to him.
Interesting choice, but you do you.
There's one of the early things that he wrote that put him more on my radar, because I don't think I had watched Super yet. I probably hadn't even watched Slither yet. Maybe I had. I don't remember. There was a old cable network called G4, and on that cable network was a show called Attack of the Show.
I knew you were going to talk about that.
And and a lot of stuff that they reviewed on there were video games, nerdy movies. They always had segments and fun bits, and but it was just for nerds to nerd out on nerd stuff. And so he was a guest many times, but the one time that I think he just was on my radar more than ever was he did the writing for a video game called Lollipop Chainsaw. And it's essentially it's just this girl in a cheerleader outfit with a chainsaw that just murders zombies.
Yeah, that's very James Gunn.
So yeah, and he wrote the essentially the story for that game and promoted it on that show. And he was kind of like I said, he was one of those kind of guys because he wasn't doing a lot. He just was on. He was friends with somebody on the show, so they just had him on as a recurring guest. A lot. But that specific time for that moment in time. So then when he went on to do Guardians, I was like, oh, I know that guy.
Yeah.
And so he's just kind of always been that director that I've had fun following. The music, we've got one of the best in the business. Tyler Bates did the music for multiple Zack Snyder films, including Watchmen, 300, and he's done the John Wick films and all 3 Guardians movies. And
He's responsible for the Guardians theme?
he's responsible for the he's the composer on all 3 films.
I don't think so. Obviously, it's well established too that I've tracked lots and lots and lots of composers' film scores over the years, and I'm pretty sure that I don't think that as much as I love the Guardians theme and the music on Guardians, I kind of never went after his work. But looking at his pedigree right now, like there's some good shit on here.
It's like I was a fan of him without knowing I was a fan of him.
Exactly. I mean, he did the Fast and Furious, Hobbs and Shaw, like Caveman said, all the
He's
John
a busy
Wicks,
guy.
The
got
Purge,
129 projects since 1993.
Deadpool.
Yeah,
the Deadpool movies.
Okay.
Good for him.
He most recently he's been working on Ty West's horror trilogy that I just saw the end of Maxine, which is really good, and so is the music. Then you got cinematographer Gregory Middleton, who kind of like Tyler Bates has just kind of been at it for ever. 65 projects since 1992.
Wow.
And he's responsible for cinematography used in Smallville, Fringe, Arrow, The Killing, Game of Thrones, Watchmen, Moon Knight.
But it does make sense because this movie is sort of filmed like it is a low budget movie, but it is kind of filmed like a low budget TV show. You know, there's some
like Buffy vibes.
Yeah, supernatural vibes.
For
sure. Out filming in the forest, which looks a lot different than filming on a set that's supposed to look like a forest and blah blah blah. But it's a fun little film.
No, it's fun when you can see certain people who have grown or whose careers have taken off and see where some of their roots had started, and especially when they're all working on the same project like this.
Yeah.
Like if you got them back together today, it would be like a big thing
to
see all these names in
to
one
have
movie.
Elizabeth Banks, and Nathan Fillion, and fucking Michael Rooker in the same movie together. Like, absolutely.
It'd be fun.
Yeah. And then we'd all be like, wait, why is Jenna Fisher there?
And I really like horror comedy, and I think this is a great horror comedy.
Yeah.
But I also would love to see like a proper serious horror film from James Gunn.
Ooh.
And I would like to hear how it was when you got back from the theater.
I think it'd be hard. He may not even be interested in something like that because he does seem like a more comedic director.
I mean, he does such wonderful drama. Jess, did you ever watch Peacemaker?
No.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
Peacemaker is so fucking good. John Cena is so fucking good in that.
I've heard nothing but good things, but like you, I am one of those people where if I get told over and over it's so good you have to watch it, I'm like, no, I don't want to.
But it does that. I bring that up because it showcases it's not just a funny like superhero thing. There's a lot of like serious stuff in it, and there's some darker moments that both James Gunn and John Cena handle beautifully.
Okay,
and like
a lot of good actors in it.
Yeah, a lot of good actors in it. It's pretty solid.
Good performances.
I think we could all collectively agree that we're really glad that James Gunn didn't get totally canceled. And that he was able to come back and finish Guardians 3.
Touch and go there for a moment.
I like that he
but-
got. I do like though that he got fired from Disney because he wouldn't have gone on to start other projects
to
the
go
way
off
he
to
had,
DC
like
and
Suicide Squad, and now the CEO, co-CEO of DC.
He's their Michael Feige.
He's their Kevin Feige.
He's their Kevin Feige. Michael Feige?
I don't know.
Michael Feige?
Yeah, who's
I don't
Michael Feige?
know. That's something.
That's the
Caveman
weird
put
cousin
something in this drink.
that they don't let out of the house.
I did put something in that drink.
So, Jess, I first watched this movie, Slither, because of you.
I wonder why.
And why don't we talk about it?
Oh, well,
Why did you drag me over to your house to make me watch this movie?
Well, you see, I was one of those teen girls that when she found a new obsession, she dove into the deep end of the Olympic-sized swimming pool of that actor or actress's fandom.
I wouldn't know anything about that.
No, right?
No,
Foreign
whatsoever.
concept for you. And, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure my Nathan Fillion phase started because you sat me down and made me watch Firefly.
Probably.
And I didn't know, and then I knew.
Yeah.
And I decided to pursue the rest of his esteemed work. And Slither, I don't remember if it was one of the first or if it was later on, but I watched it and I was like, oh, okay. This is funny and gory and kind of scary, but the good kind of scary.
Yeah.
And obviously I needed to make you watch it because we share all things.
We do. We have introduced each other to so many new obsessions. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, you made me sit down and watch The Mummy, and that took over my life for a lot of high school.
Oh, that fan fiction
that's
you wrote
where
was
that
so
came from.
bad.
And it still is out there.
Somewhere.
It's still out there, and I will never let anybody know the name of it, but somewhere out there on the internet is Mummy fan fiction written by me.
It was pretty much as bad as my X-Files fan fiction, so... You know.
First of all, I think we're both better writers than what you're saying, but okay, that's fine. I remember it being decent.
Early days.
But it was also,
yeah.
Written by a high schooler who was obsessed with Ardeth Bay, so what do you want? Yeah. I mean, fucking, The X-Files was not it's a shared obsession over the fact that we had been, utterly obsessed. God, there's been so many of the Lord of the Rings, of course, the Harry Potter books for a hot minute.
We went through a little Phantom of the Opera phase.
Yes, we did.
V for Vendetta phase. Maybe a little bit more on my side.
Yes, much more on your side. You really like a good tortured anti-hero in a mask.
Soul.
Yeah.
Just needs a hug.
Yeah. You have a Phantom of the Opera tattoo.
I do.
Yeah.
Right next to my V for Vendetta tattoo.
You do.
We've kind of merged into one. Oh, that says so much about me.
Phantom of the Vendetta.
Yeah. V for Phantom of the
Phantom.
Opera.
I think we could all agree that Gerald Butler was a choice for the Phantom.
Oh. Many things could be said.
But I still love it.
Yeah.
The Chicago soundtrack.
Oh.
They both reached for the gun.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, we had that down.
Yeah.
That was the precursor to Hamilton.
It was. By the way, I still have it down. Whenever that song plays.
To bust it out, and I could, I might stumble a little, but
just a bit.
Yeah,
it's a hard one. I made you sit on our couch and watch Hamilton.
Sure did.
While I watched you watch it. I made you
listen to it because that was before.
You're right.
It was listening to it, and then you had the book.
Yes.
That was
all the lyrics.
Yeah. With the behind the
the
scenes.
Hamilton tome. So I made you get into Hamilton. I made you get into Our Flag Means Death because I was like, oh my god, here's a show about gay pirates with Taika Waititi and Rhys Darby. It's amazing. And you went...
And I think I was intrigued.
Yes, but you didn't have Max.
Exactly.
I don't think.
Yeah, I didn't have access to it. And then I went home and immediately subscribed to...
Yes, because I made you sit on my couch and watch the entirety of season 1 in one day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously.
And now you have...
As you do.
Tattoos.
It's like my thing.
Look, I'm not making fun of you
I'm
for
covered in all of my obsessions and passions. And
I've got Lord of the Rings and Star Wars tattoos. And the only
Yeah.
reason that I don't have more is because they're so expensive.
They are.
Yeah.
We have the room. We
Yeah.
just don't have the money.
Exactly. We have matching tattoos. You
Sure
know.
do.
But yeah, so Slither came out of the Nathan Fillion obsession, which, So did Castle. So did Dr. Horrible's sing-along blog.
Oh, Dr.
So
Horrible's.
did Dr. Horrible's sing-along blog. As much as I don't like Joss Whedon anymore, and I really don't like Neil Patrick Harris anymore, because I'm so over that motherfucker, Dr. Horrible's sing-along blog remains perfection.
It is, yeah, I went back and watched it not too long ago, and yeah, it holds up.
Yeah.
It's still sweet and charming and cute and silly, and it's, yeah.
I've been wanting to rewatch Joss Whedon's Much Ado About Nothing as well, because I remember that being delightful. Not as good as David Tennant and Catherine Tate, but what could
Obviously.
be. Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
Or the Kenneth Branagh one.
I haven't seen the Kenneth Branagh one in so long.
But it's...
Yeah, but I don't know, like, David and Catherine have so much more chemistry.
That's true.
And it's literally my favorite Shakespearean thing ever done is that one stage play. And the fact that I can't own it, a physical copy of it, so I can't watch it whenever I want.
That's
I've got to
annoying. Yeah.
scour on the internet to find ways to
It's probably on like BBC iPlayer or something, and then you have to do something
really
with,
fucking weird.
I don't know, VPN. I don't know how the
Did you
internet
know
works.
that Slither is certified fresh on Rotten
sheepdogging
Tomatoes?
us right now?
He's sheepdogging us right now. Cece, come here.
Over here.
Cece.
Cece, this way. Certified fresh.
Certified fresh with the same exact percentage from critics, 87%, that Pride and Prejudice had.
Oh.
The critics liked this just as much as Pride and Prejudice.
Good.
And then what about the
for
audience
Slither.
score?
Audiences for Slither, not so much. It was a 63% from audiences.
Okay. I mean,
Still
I
decent.
get
It's
it.
not terrible, but yeah, it's not. It definitely wouldn't be for everybody.
Yeah.
I can understand that, but at the
I
same time,
have-
why not? Like,
Yeah.
it's funny. It's
You know,
creative.
I haven't spoken to her directly about it, but I do know I work with a couple who are obsessed with horror films, and when I was mentioning to the gentleman Phoenix about the fact that we were going to sit down and watch Slither for the podcast, he was like, "Oh, Tori, his girl, hates that movie," and I was like, "Oh my god, why?" And he replied, "She can't stand the accents."
Oh, the Southern
I was like-
accent? Yeah.
I was like, "All right." No, I
Yeah,
can
I
see
can
it. They are
see.
kind of cheesy. Like, I can get that, like, maybe horror purists don't like it because
think
it's
so.
too much of a comedy.
Sure.
Too
And maybe,
campy,
like, comedy fans don't like it because it's too much of a gross horror film. Like, this isn't The Shining, which is a well-renowned, respected horror film. Or, say, like, the Paranormal Activity movies, which were blockbusters. Or... You know, the Saw movies, which were low budget
Yeah.
and gross and got weirder and weirder as the time went on. You know,
Annabelle universe.
all of
kind
that stuff. This is a niche, weird little film.
It's
that-
an indie film.
It's an indie film, but we all like
super
it
low budget.
because we like the people involved with it,
Sure.
too.
Yeah.
Right? We're James Gunn's
like
fans,
a-
we're Nathan Fillion
It's a
fans.
group effort.
Yeah. I'm going to get crucified for this, but I'm not a huge fan of the Evil Dead series. I'm just not. And Caveman is rethinking our marriage right now.
Which ones are those ones again?
The ones with Bruce Campbell.
Sam Raimi directed them.
Yeah, and there's...
Oh, I've definitely
He's got
seen
the
those.
big boomstick, and
He
you would recognize
He gets
it.
his hand
Chopped
taken off,
off.
and he puts a chainsaw on instead.
Yeah,
Ash.
Ash.
Yeah, I have not seen those either.
He's a.
Gotcha.
Although that Ash is also missing a hand.
He is. He
Coincidentally.
is missing. His hand fell off, and it just happens to be the same hand that he lost in the movie.
They were like late '80s, early '90s, like horror comedy classics.
Okay.
I can't stand them. I can't.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just too much, too cheesy. I don't like how Sam
They
Raimi
are-
directs some things, most things.
Was that a bitch please hand?
That was
I have no
I
words.
can't believe I've spent almost 20 years with this person, and I'm just now hearing this. I'm
They're
not
a
as
good-
big
it's
as a
good
fan.
thing there are other attributes of you that I like. Doesn't have to be your like for horror.
Is it my boobs?
It's definitely your boobs.
Great.
She's also got a pretty good ass. Guys.
Oh, thank you.
Just so you know.
Oh my god. This podcast should just turn into all the things you like about me. And go.
Cricket noises.
Boom. That pause. That pause was glorious.
It's only because I can't narrow in on one thing.
Oh, yeah, sure.
It's just everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's what she says.
Now tell me how great I am.
You're amazing.
Yes.
And I would die for you.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Cool.
Okay.
Yeah, see? That's that easy,
Worked
caveman.
for- Oh, that's how you do it.
Yeah.
I'm figuring. So this was a low budget
Yes.
movie. It was made for $15 million.
6 cents.
Sixth Sense would definitely be low budget. It made $13 million worldwide, so worldwide didn't even get its budget back. It made another $8.2 million from home media sales, which gave it a little bit of a.
I mean, this
extra
was
boost,
very much a
but-
word of mouth thing, right? I mean, Jess saw it and was like, "You have to see this fucking movie," and I went, "Fine."
Yeah, I feel like whenever I bring it up to somebody, they either know it and have seen it and maybe love it,
Or more
they
likely
have no
they-
idea what I'm talking about.
Like Slither, what's that? Oh, it's James Gunn's first movie. The Guardians guy? You know.
James Gunn got a award from the Fangoria Chainsaw Awards for highest body count. I don't know what other movies were out that year when they won. They did get a massive body count.
To be
if you
fair,
count
the whole town died.
the whole town
pretty
dies.
much the whole town.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Minus
3 of
who
them.
limps off 3 people.
Right.
Yeah. Which is... That's kind of my other issue with horror movies, right? Is that here are all these innocent people just going about their lives in this small town. They've got a shitty mayor. They've got a police force that's kind of podunky. You know, it's a rural area. It's kind of a poor area.
The
They're
town
just
is called Wheelsy,
Yeah.
which
Is weird.
I think is all you need to know about this town.
Yeah, like, and it would just be like if you and I and the kids were just sitting around one Saturday night hanging out, and then all of a sudden an alien slug attacked all of us and then killed all of us. That'd fucking suck. And I always feel really bad for all those people that are just like, they have lives.
Collateral damage.
Yeah. I have the same, like, sadness about all the people who the demons take over in Supernatural, right? Like, demons just steal your body and run off with it, and then you get killed by Dean Winchester, and meanwhile, your wife's at home being like, where the fuck did George go?
George got
he's
real
gone.
weird all of a sudden.
Yeah. And it's like, that guy had a life, he had a future, he had movies he wanted to see.
I guess also the angels, too, then, because
Yeah.
technically they take over bodies.
Yeah. And it's just not fair.
messed up.
It's not fair. So that's why I don't like horror movies, is so many innocent people die.
That's why you don't like them?
Well, and they're scary, and they make me pee a little.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk about the makeup in this movie because it did win for the Academy of Science Fiction, Fantasy, and Horror Films Best Makeup in 2007.
This movie is practical effect heavy. And it has to be because it's a small budget film, right? So, you know, it's all the makeup that you see, all the gore that you see, that fucking tentacle monster. Poor Brenda, who's... Brenda, you know, just fucking the size of a barn filled with alien slug babies that are ripping their way out of her. Like, you can see the computer effects in this film because they're so cheesy and bad that they stand out against the practical effects.
I wish they used less CG. The CG that I think was necessary were probably the slugs.
Yes.
There's so many of them, and they're just squirming all over the screen.
Slugging around.
I think that was a necessary CG. Some other things happened throughout the movie where it was like, did you really have to have that in there? Could you have done that practically, maybe?
What about in the field, the guy gets, like, split in half?
That's a great effect.
That's a
I
great
felt like
effect.
that was, maybe they spent most of their CGI budget on that scene.
Well, and
the
also,
rest
that's
suffered.
not a hard thing to do practically either.
Some
because
of it I think was practical, but
Yeah.
some of it I think they had to put a little
even
CG
just
in there. But
the tentacle monster of Michael Rooker before he becomes the big giant,
giant one.
version of himself in the house. When he's in that field, there was fuckers out there with puppetry and shit.
Moving
And
that tentacle around.
yeah, and it looked great.
Oh, it looked great, absolutely. Even his final form in the house.
Yes.
Looked great.
Yeah.
And
Juicy
gross.
and hairy.
Yeah, and then, like, I don't know if how well you were paying attention to those particular parts of the scenes, but when he's the big, giant, like, massive conscious blob, and there are other people that were coming in and becoming a part of it, it wasn't just him and the blob body.
I think you got it.
Globby blob blot. Nope.
Dripping.
There was a lot of dripping in this
A
movie.
lot of dripping. The people that were not Michael Rooker, but were in the background, who were like under the
Sure.
bit of like latex that
They
were
were kind of
wiggling
becoming
around.
part
Yeah,
of
there's
him.
like a lady that's like fully
Yes.
encased, like she's trying to break out of him.
But you can see that it's a practical, and it looked great.
When they like walk up to the doorway to join him, and
Yes.
they just kind of melt,
into the body.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was
I was
decent.
wondering if one of those shots was done backwards, like they ran the film backwards after they shot it, because the way he becomes part of the body and everything's like forming around him and bringing him in to the body, it just looks like it was done backwards to be able to get that effect of him becoming part of the...
But how would he how would you film that? Because he had to lean into it. So how do you pull yourself
Well,
out of that, making it look like it's...
I think he when they filmed it, I think he pulled himself out and broke loose.
Oh.
So
They
the
just didn't show you the broke loose part, and they just edited so that because just the way it just looked really good of him being like
Sucked in.
sucked into this collective
What's that game that you like to play with the giant blob monster at the end?
inside.
Yes, which is a small indie game that Caveman's obsessed with. But at the end of the game, spoilers, you end up in this large, blobby mass of flesh and limbs, kind of stumbling around for freedom, and it's very gross.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's just a bunch of naked bodies and their feet and legs hanging out, and that's how they get around. Is just hundreds of feet and legs rolling around this blob thing.
Or like in that episode of Star Trek Lower Decks, where the same thing happens to the Cerritos crew, and they have to be taken apart by their characteristics, not from their DNA, because their DNA had merged so much into one like cohesive blob of person that Tiana? No, what's her name? Anyways, it's like that one scene in Lower Decks, which if you're a Star Trek fan or not, you should watch because it's fucking adorable. It makes me happy and cry, and I miss it.
Tendi.
Oh, sweet Tendi. I love her so. And Rutherford. And Boimler. And Mariner. Anyways, Slither. Do you want to get into the plot of it all?
Yeah, let's get into what happens in Slither.
Yeah. So Slither starts out with a meteor crashing into Earth.
Yes, and an alien-looking vagina that opens up.
Oh my god, it's so bad.
I thoroughly enjoyed the scene, and our son, who watched like the first 5 minutes of it with us being like,
peacing out, yeah.
You know, you're watching this comet turn into, or meteor or whatever, it's, you know, this rock turn into, or enter the Earth's atmosphere and get smaller and smaller and go faster and faster. And then it keeps cutting to Nathan Fillion and his partner, Wally, played by Don Thompson, sitting in the cop car, just bored.
Yeah.
You know.
He, like, speed radar gunning an owl.
Yes. I wonder how fast it could be.
Yeah.
And you're kind of waiting for them to get hit by this meteor, because that's what would make sense. And the reality is that it crashes behind them, and they don't even notice it, which I found was very funny. And the story sort of centers around Michael Rooker's character, Grant, which... What a stupid a name, but we love it.
Grant.
Who is the richest man in town. He's older than his wife, but he was able to, like, save her from a...
Seems like she grew up in, like, a not great situation down by the riverbank, maybe in a mobile home situation of some sort.
And he saves her, and even though he's, like, 20 years her senior, he saves her and gives her money and gives her a better life. She's a teacher now, right? The cop, Bill Party, who's played by Nathan Fillion, is in love with her. It's all just small town politics and little silly stuff like that. But Grant wants some love and affection from his young wife, and she's kind of over it. Because, I mean, to be fair, he looks like Michael Rooker, and she looks like Elizabeth Banks. So I get it.
And Michael Rooker looks like a big toe.
He does.
With a face.
But I love him.
I mean, he's amazing.
Yes.
But he's not the comeliest of gentlemen.
No, he's not. Especially when he's, like, big and hairless and just...
And the glasses.
And the whole thing. On a night, on a moment of weakness where he almost cheats on his wife out at the bar, he becomes infected with this alien worm. And then chaos ensues. And that's essentially the plot. I really liked when he is infected by the alien worm, how it shows the x-ray of his body.
Yeah, I wrote that down. So you can see it traveling from his chest up into his brain cavity.
Yeah, which
that was cool.
Would kill you instantly.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure
like
if severed things in your spinal cord on the way up.
It's not like there's a lot of space in the human body for anything to travel through.
Didn't you see The Mummy? The beetles?
Oh, yeah.
Well, they were under the skin.
Yeah, so was it.
But they were... No. Well, the beetles were under a layer of skin, but above, like, muscle.
The vital bits, yeah.
Whereas this was, like, inside of the body. I always thought about the mummy beetles being, like, in one of the layers of skin.
Traveling through the epidermis.
Like, yeah, they're under the skin, but above the fascia or whatever. And whereas this alien's, like, in the inner organs and moving its way through. But if you cut a hole through your spleen, then you're bleeding out.
It's a good thing this movie's
Science.
fake.
Yeah. That alien vagina with its little, like, pointy tentacle things.
Yeah, it's like a little Barbie thing.
Yeah.
Like Barb.
Yes.
Barbie the doll.
And it's
kind of wiggles.
Disgusting.
And then shoots into his abdomen.
Disgusting and delightful, for sure. Michael Rooker is kind of a good husband.
Yeah.
He is a good husband.
Yeah.
I mean, he had a night of
Weakness,
yeah. But he didn't go through
No.
with it.
As soon as the opportunity to actually seal the deal
Right.
No.
presented itself, he was like, my wife, I can't do this.
Just a guy who, he's married and he wants to feel loved.
Yeah. And he doesn't. I think that...
It's established pretty early that I don't think she is reciprocating that love.
No, not as much anymore.
I would say not as much anymore. I think initially she probably had that, like, starry eye, he's pulling me out of the gutters. He's smart, he's got money and means, and it's just faded a bit.
He's attractive enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although I wrote down, what did I write down? Michael goddamn Rooker. Has he always been old and looked like the thumb?
That's the funny thing, because even I brought up the fact that, like, he's always... I can't imagine him as a young man. He's always been, like, old.
Yeah, even in Mallrats.
In Mallrats, he was, like, the dad. And, I mean, that was early 90s. So here we are in, the early 2000s, a decade later, and he's playing a character the same age, essentially.
It looks like it, yeah.
Say, would you like a chocolate-covered pretzel?
Say, would you like a chocolate-covered pretzel?
Dark chocolate.
Yeah?
No.
Oh, come on.
No,
awesome.
please.
Here you go.
Fuck, I love Mallrats so much. It's my favorite Kevin Smith movie. He loves Starla? Wait, what is her name? Starla. What a dumb name.
Starla.
I don't know if that's a Southern thing or if that's a James Grant thing, but Grant and Starla are some character names that made me go, all right. Mm-hmm. That could have been a first draft run through, but we kept it.
A place saver.
Yeah. But okay.
Starla.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, some of the other actors you have on this were, you got Greg Henry, who we all, of course, when we see him, we all recognize his face, but we're not completely sure who he is.
He's an incredible character actor.
But for those of you who kind of forget where you've seen him before, and you're just like, where did he come from? He played Star-Lord or Peter Quill's grandfather in the Guardians of the Galaxy trilogy.
Yeah. And he's done a lot of things with James Gunn.
With James Gunn, yeah.
He's just done a lot of things in general, a lot of TV work. He's one of those just great Southern asshole character actors. I love how he is introduced. He's the mayor. And how he's introduced in town is he comes riding up on a guy honking his horn. Although it did look like the guy in the big truck that the mayor was honking at had parked in the street and gone into a shop.
I think he'd, like, double parked and was going to go grab something real quick.
And then, so the mayor's behind him, like, honking his horn and just swearing up a storm. And then he looks over and there's this mother and child staring horrified at him on the street. And the mom says something to the effect of, like,
Hi, Mayor.
Hi, Mayor. Good morning.
And he mumbles to himself, like, what, easy come, easy go? Or
yes.
There goes another vote, something to that aspect.
Mayor McCready.
Yeah, Mayor McCready's favorite phrase is cocksucker.
Yeah.
But yeah, the mayor, he's great. He's so much fun. In fact, like, the whole posse, essentially, that surrounds Bill Party, Nathan Fillion's character. His friend and partner, Wally, the female cop, Margaret. Like, all of them were so much fun. I wrote down, the cast is so real and rural.
Rural.
The
rural juror.
The rural juror.
Small town America.
Yeah. Like, outside of Nathan Fillion and Elizabeth Banks, who are stone cold fucking foxes. Always have been, always will be. Impossibly beautiful. The rest of the cast didn't look like Hollywood stars.
Yeah.
And they're not. They're all smaller character actors. The way that the sets were dressed, the way that the costumes were put together, even for Elizabeth Banks, who's kind of like the classiest, like, woman and character in this movie. And there are moments where she's put in, like, a lovely satin negligee,
That cardigan with, like, the embroidery at the top.
The white coat at the end.
The white coat.
Just the way that leather coat was tailored to fit her perfectly. Like, she's glamorous, but still in kind of a small-town American way, right? In an all-American way. And the rest of the cast just looks a little bit gaudy and put upon and simple and
charming,
real.
Small town, country folk.
And I thought that was a great addition. Yeah. It was neat seeing this town because it felt lived in. You felt...
True.
Which I guess also makes me sad that everybody ends up dying at the end because it's like, man, these poor people.
I had always hoped, because there was that one guy got injured and the slug crawled out of his brain. I thought that was going to happen, like the Rooker main alien amorphous blob got killed, so they would be like, exit the property.
Yeah, and they're all going to be fine, but they were like truly taken over. Yeah.
They don't move.
I know that you haven't watched it, but Peacemaker steals kind of heavily from the same premise, because it's about aliens who come to Earth who, need host bodies, so they, basically attack and kill the person inside of the body and take it over, right? And so now it's the alien running the show and not the person anymore.
Right.
Once their food source is depleted, they're going to die out. And so it becomes about killing the food source.
And there is one central alien kind of controlling all of them.
Yes, but not telepathically, I don't think. It was not like...
But once they kill it, don't all the rest give up? Just like this. And
I thought it was the food source.
Also, if you think about it,
the
same exact plot is done in the Suicide Squad with Starro.
Yeah.
Because when Starro's gone, the other ones die.
Yeah.
That are controlling them.
Yeah, you're right. Because there's
brains.
the little... Yeah. And so if this plot point comes back in Superman, we're going to have to sit down and have a talk with James Gunn.
Which there is a Superman story that I remember seeing. It's one of the first ones in the animated series of the same thing happening to Superman.
Yeah, so we might need to have a talk with James Gunn about...
James Gunn likes a good hive mind.
Yes. He's got to switch things up a little bit. Yeah.
In regards to hive mind plot point, when Grant first gets his alien sluggo barb, there's that moment where you can tell that it's the alien controlling him, trying to figure out like how to move the limbs. Like, he's kind of twitchy and, trying to figure out his new meat suit that he's driving around. And that reminded me of Independence Day with the cockroach that crawls into Edgar. He's wearing an Edgar suit.
Men in Black.
Men in Black.
Men in Black. What did I say?
Independence Day. I was thinking
alien movie.
Of the
Men in Black.
Of the alien using Brent Spinner's vocal box to talk. Using a tentacle to be like...
Sure, that works.
Yeah. I'm going to
but I get Men in Black.
Yeah, but the Men in Black thing, yes, that too. Yeah. I mean, it's... Everything that's old is new again, right? Like, every story's been told 1,000 times, so... I haven't seen Men in Black in so long.
I mean, Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Donald Sutherland.
Speaking of using old things become new again, when the first trailer for Slither came out, internet boards, because it's still early enough that we had internet boards.
Yeah, this movie came out in 2006.
Yeah, so social media wasn't really... I mean, you had MySpace, but still... Getting on the internet board was not the same.
You were both in my top 8.
Aww. The movie setting lit up with protests, shocking, from a legion of fans of the 1986 film Night of the Creeps, alien slugs that turn people into zombies. They cried, "What a ripoff!" Somebody else said, "No, this movie's more." If you want to compare Slither to another older film, the 1975 film Shivers is a Cronenberg film that Gunn actually did say he was inspired by. Also some manga from 2000.
Who doesn't like a little bit of tentacle porn?
Stop looking at me like that.
But more than anything, James Gunn said that Slither was inspired by and pays homage to the great horror comedies in the 1980s.
Yeah.
That was his main... He wasn't copying
peak like horror comedy,
The Farm is being owned by Castevet in reference to the Satan-worshipping next-door neighbors in Rosemary's Baby. Mayor McCready was named after 2 Kurt Russell characters. One was Jack Burton, the other one was R.J. McCready. These were characters from Big Trouble in Little China and John Carpenter's The Thing.
I've never seen The Thing. I've also never seen Big Trouble in Little China. I've seen snippets of Big Trouble in Little China. That was a movie that like my dad and brothers would watch, and I would walk into the room and be like, and leave.
Like, I didn't grow up on it either, but I did watch it, and it's fine. And I might have had a closer... We've talked about this before. Sometimes you like a movie because you grew up with it. And if you have somebody 20, 30 years later watch that same movie, they're not going to have the same reaction to it. Especially being that much of an older film. So I watched it, and it's a fine movie, and
Yeah.
it definitely didn't age well. But
No.
but The Thing, John Carpenter's The Thing, is still one of my favorite horror movies to date, and it is so well done.
And terrifying.
The practical effects are still some
Terrifying.
of the best practical effects Hollywood's ever come out with.
And it's terrifying, and I can't. Like, I just can't. I don't...
Maybe you should.
So, I mean, I have a bit of a thing about body snatchers, right? Like, I don't want to feel like I'm out of control in my body. That was a big issue in Get Out. You know, it's like all of a
Sure.
sudden you're not controlling your own body, and then where does your soul go? And then, you know, like all of your hopes and dreams are gone because somebody else is now inside of your brain. Like, you know, that shit sort of scares me a bit. I don't like alien movies because as much as I love a good, like, ghost story, aliens scare the hell out of me. Like, I remember growing up and in the early days of Unsolved Mysteries, when they would have, like, alien abduction stories on it, they always scared the hell out of me. The Fire in the Sky movie / book scared the hell out of me as a kid. Like, you know, aliens spook me out, so I don't like alien stories, right? And then I love a ghost story. Like, if you walk up to me and you go, I saw a ghost once, I will stop everything I'm doing and be like, tell me everything. I need to know. And I'll stand there with goosebumps going, it's amazing. And I've watched some spooky ass TikToks and I'm like all for it. But there's something about, like, ghost films, terrifying. Right.
I think for me, it's because they do involve a lot of jump scares, and that's what freaks me out the most.
Yeah, I'm such a jittery person in my everyday life.
Exactly.
That a jump scare is going to fuck with me.
I will literally, you know, clasp my popcorn bucket and the popcorn flies everywhere.
Yeah.
Type, don't do that to
I
me.
mean, the other day at work, I was very aware that I was the only person in the kitchen, and I was aware of where my coworker was on the other side of the wall, and I could see her. And in my periphery, somebody appeared, and I jumped 3 feet in the air screaming, and it was just a coworker coming to tell me something about the job. But, like, just because all of a sudden somebody appeared out of the corner of my eye, I was like a fucking Warner Brothers cat on top of the ceiling, digging into it. You know, Sylvester the cat style, like,
I've always
Producer Robin.
equated myself to a horse. Like, don't approach me from behind if I can't see you.
Yeah.
Don't touch me from behind if I don't know you're coming.
Something about this movie I didn't know until it was mentioned yesterday when we were watching it. I had no idea that, obviously, Jenna Fisher makes an appearance in this movie.
Yes.
I had no idea that her and James Gunn were married.
Yes.
At one time.
Sure were.
They sure were.
2000 to 2008, and I just had to look that up in reference to when The Office was on.
Yes.
Which was 2005 2000 to 2013. So they were. This movie came out when we were just about mid-season for season 2.
So the funny thing about that I read on IMDb, the trivia section was that Jenna Fisher was the one who went on the Tonight Show the night before this movie premiered to promote it, because at the time she was the biggest star. Like,
everybody's like, who's your husband?
Yeah.
He made a movie? That's cute.
That's cute. But, like, all of a sudden, the girl from The Office is in a little indie horror film. Like, I'm down for that. Even though she has
The smallest
3
part.
lines. Yeah. But, yeah, they used her to promote it because she was the more recognizable name at that time.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
That's funny.
I mean, Elizabeth Banks was still kind of a delightful character comedian who was in everything and nothing. Nathan Fillion was coming off of the fucking fanatic
Firefly and Serenity.
Yeah. Like, the insanity around that. But he still wasn't as big of a name.
Big, no.
I mean, Michael Rooker, still just that dude from Mallrats and a giant toe.
Kind of little niche actors that if you knew them, you loved them, and if not, you weren't aware of what they were doing.
The girl, but Pam Beesly.
Yeah.
Who I just desperately want to fall in love with Jim. Like, when are Pam and Jim going to get together? You know, that was the big thing. Let's talk about Nathan Fillion. Nathan fucking Fillion. Just Canadian-born, brilliant,
always
funny,
charming.
so fucking charming.
As hell.
Although I think that we all kind of collectively forget that he was really mean to Stana Katic at the end of Castle, though, there. Like, the reason that Castle...
Really?
Yeah.
I heard she was also right back at him.
Yeah,
so
that
they were not...
They hated each other, and there was lots of fight, like offset fighting.
I guess it depends who you ask, because I heard a lot of unprofessionalism from her, too.
Yeah, but from both sides,
sure.
right?
No, they could have both handled things a lot better.
Yeah. But,
Such a great show, though.
Yeah, but that show went on for so long, and they just kept dragging it.
They did, sure.
By the end, yeah.
I vaguely remember watching the last season, but I can't remember a thing about it except for the last episode being like, wait, but she died. Why are they happy together? And they're like, what's going on here?
I'm sure if I went back, we could say, like, the first few seasons were probably their best.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, because that's just how any
good
procedural is, especially a will they, won't they procedural. Because once they do, it's terrible. X-Files. But we will not go down that road because this will turn into a 4-hour podcast.
But still, very
Fillion.
Charming actor, always very gracious to his fans. I've always heard great...
do a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Humble.
Have you met him?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we went to, they had, I can't remember if it was like the DVD release for Castle or a book release, because they did kind of...
Yeah, they
I think it was the book.
Yeah.
And it was at a Barnes and Noble down in like Hollywood somewhere.
Yeah.
And it was him, the two other kind of like detectives. I don't remember their names. And then the older guy who played the chief.
Yes.
They were all there. And he was perfectly lovely and very pretty.
He is very pretty. We talked about Dr. Horrible one of my favorite Nathan Fillion roles is that not only do we talk about Dr. Horrible sing-along blog, oh my God.
She's going to get there eventually.
Yeah. You know what? I'm drinking vodka, so like... We talked about the sing-along blog. He's wonderful in that. He plays...
Captain Hammer.
And the hammer is my penis. Yeah. God, if you haven't seen Dr. Horrible sing-along blog, guys, like, it's so fucking good. Felicia Day breaks my heart in that movie every single time. Yeah. And I cannot tell you how often I walk around just going, bad horse, bad horse, bad horse. He's bad. Just brilliant. But one of my favorite Nathan Fillion things that he has ever done is in Big Mouth, where he plays himself. But he plays himself as the fantasy version of Missy, the little African-American character who is just a sweet little nerd. And she's super horny for Nathan Fillion, so she's...
That's right, I forgot about that.
Whenever, like, she's fantasizing about Nathan Fillion, it's always Nathan Fillion doing it.
Yeah.
Right? And so, like, just some of the lines that he has, there's this really wonderful kind of bottle episode, I guess would be the best way to describe it, of Big Mouth, or it's more of an anthology episode, where the kids are learning about reproductive rights in their sexual health class. And Missy is talking about, how Planned Parenthood helps young... It's the Planned Parenthood episode, and how Planned Parenthood helps protect women from more than just... They do so much more than just abortions, right?
Right.
So she's daydreaming about her life on a spaceship. And, she's the captain of the spaceship. Spaceship, of course, is vaginally shaped. And Nathan Fillion's, like, her, like, not second in command, but he's one of her, like, higher up. And then Andrew, played by John Mulaney, is, like, the janitor. And Andrew and Nathan Fillion are always, like, fighting, like, snipping at each other for Missy's affection.
Missy, yeah.
And she's always like, calm down, guys. There's enough for me to go around, right? And Nathan Fillion's like, oh, Missy, I love you so much. It just, it cracks my shit up. Big Mouth is one of my favorite shows to exist. It has taught me so much about my mental health.
Very good.
Yeah, it's a forever favorite binge, but Nathan Fillion on it is gold.
Nathan Fillion as Nathan Fillion.
Yes.
Not playing anyone else.
Nope, just him doing him.
Gorgeous self. Nathan Fillion's character, Bill Party, has quite a few epic one-liners.
Yes, that's
are
where we
very
got
quotable.
Yes.
Why
don't you hit me with some of them?
I think my favorite is, and I don't remember where it happens in the movie, it's toward the ends. And according to my notes is, my easygoing nature is getting sorely fucking tested.
Yes.
Which is something I feel like needs to be on a t-shirt or a pin or something.
Decorative throw pillow, a tea towel. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of great one-liners in this. One of the cops says at one point when talking about Grant in his tentacle monster costume, he says, he looks like something that fell off my dick during the war.
Yes.
That was a line.
That's a lie.
He's like an older character.
Yeah.
So, yeah, maybe in, Nam? Something fell. Well, now that is some fucked up shit.
Well, now that is some fucked up shit.
Well, no, that is some fucked up shit.
That was the mayor. Learn to
No,
eat
Bill
straw
Party
better.
said that. After seeing a zombie become part of Grant. Well, now that is some fucked up shit.
When he joins the mass. What is it, Betty? In the barn?
Brenda.
Brenda.
Yeah.
And she's all swollen and harboring thousands of slug babies, and he just kind of very dryly goes, so what's going on here?
He really plays... Because, he's the hero of this movie. Mm-hmm. But he's not the swashbuckling, knows what he's doing, calm and collected hero.
No.
He's literally just a normal man who's just...
trying to make his way through
the day.
Slug invasion.
Yeah. And he's got some excellent, very well delivered, very dry one-liners. Mm-hmm. When he gets attacked by the deer in the police station, and Kylie, the young teenage girl who survives, comes to his rescue, he's just like, thank you for saving my ass back there. And she says, you're welcome. And then he replies, of course, when I tell that story, it's going to be the other way around.
Yeah.
He's just so charming, and he puts you at ease. And, he's kind of a great character to have in a horror movie.
Yeah.
Because he's very much the real man.
Yeah. He would, he would know what to do. He might not do it easily.
No.
But he's going to save you.
Drop a grenade
eventually.
into a pool instead of into the monster. But
try to jump over a fence and just, fall over it.
We all laughed really hard at him trying to jump over that fence.
Wrote down best fence jump never.
After seeing him play somebody like Mal, there were certain characteristics that he shares with Mal in this that I'm like, that's something Mal would do. Mm-hmm. But then there's something like jumping over a fence where I feel like Mal would have cleared it.
Yeah.
But maybe not all the time, because Mal did screw up a lot and played it off like, oh, that never happens.
Yeah, I meant to do that.
I meant to do that.
Nobody
the whole time.
saw it. It's fine.
I miss Serenity and Firefly to an extent, but even today, even in 2024, you'll still see a thread or a tweet or a fucking BuzzFeed article that's like, what? Canceled TV shows deserve another chance. And everybody's like, bring Firefly back. It's not going to happen. It's not going to be as good.
Yeah. I don't think it should.
No.
What we got was perfect.
Yeah.
If it was something that happened 3 to 5 years after their initial cancellation, and maybe instead of the movie, it was able to come back.
Yeah.
Or maybe right after the movie, whatever, but it has been too long now.
It has been too long now.
You bring it back now, it's not going to have the same effect. There's plenty of read fan fiction, I think there's a comic book series.
They came out with so many comic books,
that continues the story.
Yeah.
So read that.
Yeah. And all these characters have aged, and that's totally fine. That's no big deal. But it's not going to have the same charm to it. Yeah. It's not going to have Joss Whedon in it, because that guy fucking sucks.
Yeah.
And it's just let it go, guys. I lived and died for the TV show Pushing Daisies. It remains one of my favorite TV shows of all time. It got 2 seasons. It got a season and a half thanks to the writer's strike. It's never going to come back. And I've had to let that be okay. Yeah. And also, on the other hand, even if it did come back, who's to say that I would like what direction they would take it in?
Yeah.
And then I'm one of those fans bitching about how you ruined my childhood on the internet. This isn't what I thought it would be.
I was so excited, and then you went the wrong direction.
How dare they put a black person in it? Look at Star Wars fans these days. I will say that Elizabeth Banks is, as ever, effortlessly wonderful in this movie. I think that there was a while there where I was kind of annoyed with Elizabeth Banks, because not only was she in fucking everything, but there's kind of definitely for a while in the late aughts and early 2010s, it seemed like every character she did was kind of the same character. And I was a little over it, right? There was never much range. It was always just Elizabeth Banks doing Elizabeth Banks. I will use, for example, her character in 30 Rock.
True.
It was always just sort of oh, that's a little Banks for you. But she is a phenomenal actress. She's a great comedian. She is obviously well respected and well loved, because she's done everything. I mean, for God's sake, she gave us Pitch Perfect, and I will forever be in debt for her because of that. But she's fun in this movie with her terrible Southern accent, with her fancy hair, and, oh, baby, I said that it was for better or for worse. You know, like, she does a fantastic job as the, the damsel in distress, who also, like, kicks some ass.
Can hold her own.
Yeah. There's one part where she's fighting off a bunch of the, zombie monsters, and the mayor looks at her and is like, damn, that bitch is hardcore. Like,
yeah.
Great line.
She's stabbed him with, like, a road sign or
Yes.
something.
Yeah, she kills, like, 2 cops in 5 minutes in in this movie. It's ridiculous.
Zombie cops.
But
still
yes.
cops.
Well, I just adore Elizabeth Banks in this film, and it's nice to see her, I guess, putting some stank on that character, right? Where she's not just playing beautiful Elizabeth Banks that happens to be in this movie, which I kind of felt like, again, was a trap she fell into later on in her career. And then I feel like she kind of got out of. I know she has done some more serious things. She was a part of that Fox News movie that I didn't watch, the one about all the women. It was Margot Robbie and
Scandal, something?
Yeah, it was something like that.
Something,
but
yeah.
like, she's definitely done some, like, worthy things. But I guess I'm just saying that nowadays I'm never unhappy to see her, and including on 30 Rock. My favorite moment of her entire character on 30 Rock is where it cuts to her doing a commercial for the online retailer that existed back in, like, the early 2010s. And she's doing it in a Baltimore accent. Oh, do you like the O? I like the O. It's so fucking funny, and she commits every time.
Nice.
Maybe I think I just kind of got over her because I was growing out of Judd Apatow movies. And she was a heavy fixture in that.
Yeah, we got very
post the 40-Year-Old Virgin.
That era.
Like, there were a lot of those films that I was just like, this is unnecessary, and all these people are annoying me. But not you, Paul Rudd.
Never you,
Paul Rudd.
Never.
Can I take your order?
Can I get a tall chai?
A large black coffee.
A what?
Large black coffee.
Do you mean a venti?
No, I mean a large.
He means a venti. Yeah, the biggest one you got.
Venti is large.
No, venti is 20.
Danny.
Yeah. Large is large. In fact, tall is large, and grande is Spanish for large. Venti's the only one that doesn't mean large. It's also the only one that's Italian. Congratulations, you're stupid in 3 languages.
The alien slugs that have been birthed by literally popping out of this poor woman. By the way, that poor fucking woman.
Oh, she looked like a tick.
Yeah.
That was absolutely swollen to capacity.
But also, like, she had a crush on the rich dude her whole life. She does talk at one point about how she was, quote unquote, ready to go at 13, which, ugh.
Oh, and let's not forget, she gives her baby a tomato.
She gives her baby a tomato to play with.
to play with,
Here, play this tomato.
chew on.
Yeah. What
her
happens
crib.
to that baby? Does that baby die too?
They don't really address it,
Yeah,
but
they don't
They
really say
don't,
anything.
because he's looking at it, and then you never see the baby again.
Yeah. All this girl wants to do is, like, I mean, yes, she's cheating on her partner, and she's trying to get a man who's married to cheat on his wife with her. But then she gets impregnated by all these alien slugs and ripped apart from the inside out. Like, again, the means don't always justify the crimes. But the slugs take over the town, and they're invading this house. We get that incredible shot of the slugs going into the bathtub, right? And that's, I think, a lot of people, when they think of Slither, think of even just the poster of the girl in the bathtub with all the slugs kind of swirling in around it. And in that, so she's like the teenage girl that has to survive, because there's always got to be a teenage girl that survives in horror movies. And her family, her mom, her dad, and her 2 younger sisters, who seem to be a fairly loving, well-off, happy family.
Like a nice family.
Yeah. All these people end up getting murdered by alien slugs, which is a real fucking bummer. But at one point, the mom is shown putting the younger girls to bed, and the younger girls are reading Goosebumps books. And while Caveman is desperate to find,
I don't think it's going to happen.
the 2, the books actually shown in the movie, according to IMDb, the 2 books that they're reading are The Girl Who Cried Monster and You Can't Scare Me. But the covers don't match up with what we remember watching yesterday.
Yeah.
Maybe they changed the covers.
It could have very well been that it was,
But I remember,
a reprint.
like the monster one. What was it called?
The Girl Who Cried Monster.
The Girl Who Cried Monster. I recognize that cover. I recognize all these covers, but my brain's just trying to put together
Yeah.
what I saw.
Because the cover that we saw, that Caveman and I both saw, that we didn't speak about immediately, but now we're like, no, I remember what the cover was. A mad scientist, like a table with like a mad scientist holding some like beakers and like test tubes. And there's a bunch of like test tubes and like fucking sciencey stuff around him. And we're both like, oh, we remember seeing that exact image on the movie frame. But as we're looking up the covers, we can't find it. Now, this is a hard question because as all of us are elder millennials, and Caveman is a geriatric millennial, / Gen X. No, what are you?
Sure. I mean, you could call me either an elder millennial or
Gen X. Yeah.
I
Kids,
mean,
you're right on the cusp.
All the
there.
things, all the events I ever went to
Yeah.
as a kid, there were always slightly older kids than me there.
Yeah.
So they just said, Gen X is all of you. And I grew up believing I was Gen X. And then it wasn't until the internet decided.
Yeah.
I don't know who decides
Yeah.
what years these terms
Cutoff is.
And then whenever I look at it online, it's always different years.
Yeah.
Like sometimes
78 to whatever, sometimes 84 to whatever. It's
sometimes
all kinda...
millennial starts at 1980. Sometimes I see it start at 1982.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. But anyways, I
grew up with a bunch of Gen Xers, but I might be an older millennial.
Yeah. Nonetheless, we all grew up with Goosebumps books.
Sure did.
Out of the blue, off the top of your head, Jess, do you have a favorite Goosebumps book?
Oh, like, not out of the blue, but only because we've been looking at covers.
Yeah, no,
and,
we have spent the last 10 minutes looking at it.
I have a terrible memory, so mine was the werewolf one.
Yes.
Werewolf in some swamp, Night of the Werewolf.
Werewolf of Fever Swamp.
There you go, that one. Yeah, that was my favorite.
What about you, Caveman?
Well, it obviously helps that I was just looking at covers as well. And
I mean, like, I wouldn't have remembered. I remember the story of mine, but I wouldn't have remembered the title without Googling.
There's a bunch, like Camp Jelly Jam was one that I liked. Say Cheese and Die.
Say Cheese and Die was a great one.
Anytime that I thought they wouldn't just kill off kids in a story, would they? And then they do, and you're just like, oh shit, they killed kids in a story, because they don't really do that in modern horror films.
No, kids are kind of
occasionally you do, like It, and
but it's an older story that was redone.
It is, and I like those kind of stories where nobody's safe, not even children.
Yeah. For me, I have a very visceral memory of this. I read the Goosebumps books, the Goosebump book, The Ghost Next Door.
Okay.
And The Ghost Next Door is about this girl, this young tween girl, and this is all just off the top of my head, who thinks that her house is haunted. She can't pinpoint it, right? All this spooky stuff happens, and she's also alone in her house. Like, her family has gone, and she kind of has no memory of her family leaving.
Weird.
Her friend that she's, that lives next door to her, who's helping her through this, is also kind of like it's a weird setup. The long and short of it is that it's basically The Others for kids. At the beginning of the book, this young girl and her whole family die in a house fire. And then she doesn't realize it. Her ghost is completely unaware that her whole family is dead until the end of the book, when, like, she kind of understands what is going on and has the realization, and then, like, the light opens up and her family's calling her to the other side to bring her back together. And as a kid, that broke me. It wasn't scary so much as I was just like, oh my god,
What if this happens to me?
oh my god, what if I'm already dead in a fire and I don't
know it?
Like that, at a young age, like, that story is a heavy fucking story. I would almost like to reread that book. But it very much is like The Others for kids. The Others, of course, being that great Nicole Kidman movie,
which came out not that long after The Sixth Sense, and
was better than The Sixth Sense.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
No, it's a solid movie.
I saw The Sixth Sense once. I hated every second of it.
I didn't hate it. I liked
hated
it, but I think
it's
the
not my
others still
favorite
better.
Shyamalan movie,
Shyamalan,
but
what a
ding
twist!
I
What a
remember enjoying it.
Yeah, no, I think that it goes back to because everybody talked about that.
I mean,
fucking
it was
movie.
a phenomenon.
Was that another movie that you waited too long to see?
I watched it on VHS in my friend's living room with her older grandmother sitting behind us, being like, "What's going on? I don't understand it."
That might have contributed.
That may
A
have
little
helped,
bit, yeah. Shout out to you, Leanne. It was at your house, but I just remember being like, "This movie's awful. I was so fucking bored. If I were to
It is very
rewatch
slow
it,
paced and kind of
so I don't need to ever give that movie any more time ever again.
I think it's a solid movie.
I'd rewatch Signs,
especially for his first.
Oh, Signs is
and The Village.
The Village is the best.
Village, so fucking
offering.
good.
Yeah.
Which Caveman and I will get into that on a later date, maybe. But his ideas on how The Village should have been re-edited would have made the movie better, and I wholeheartedly agree. They gave away the twist of The Village
came
too early. Yeah, but still, and I'm not the biggest Joaquin Phoenix fan, as well established on this podcast as well. But man, when Bryce Dallas Howard's got her hand held out and she's waiting for him to come grab it, and all the monsters are attacking, and the music and the
yeah, that's a good one.
God, people hate on The Village, and I just think that's a beautiful movie. It just was, the ending was poorly edited. And that's my biggest issue. But, yeah, Goosebumps books. I don't think our children have read any Goosebumps.
No, I don't think so either.
I think that Jack would like them.
He probably would get into them if
he does Jack loves a spooky.
They are age appropriate. That's the fun thing.
Yeah.
Sure, there are scary moments in those books, especially when you're like following certain characters and
and things happen.
You kind of imagine yourself in those shoes and like, how am I going to get out of this? But that's the fun thing about those, and they might have helped me really enjoy horror films.
And I think they might
at a
have
later age because of how much fun I had. Because I read so many of those books.
And so I read a lot of Goosebumps too, and I read a lot of Christopher Pike books, which were like Goosebumps for tween girls that were all like sexy and mysterious, and I love them. They were so good, and I was all about them, pulling them out of the Vista Campana Middle School library. Did you go to Vista?
I did.
Yeah. I really loved scary stories that we tell in the dark. That was my fucking jam. Do you guys remember that book? So I was more of a fan of like scary stories to tell in the dark, and like books like that, like the little anthology books that had little short stories that were like spooky and scary, like The Girl with the Green Ribbon Tied Around Her Neck, and
that's where that's from.
Okay. Yeah. And just all these really wonderfully like obtuse and scary little stories for kids that like not everybody read. Yeah. Like, sitting here in this room right now, we are collectively weird little nerds who absolutely, like, gravitated to that. But, like, you know, there were some kids that weren't into that sort of shit. But, man, that was my jam growing up. Between, like, that and, like, Greek mythology shit. It explains a lot about me.
Shakespeare.
Yeah. Well, Shakespeare came when I was, like, old enough to appreciate it, which was high school.
True.
Yeah. The alien worms attack. People are taken over. Starla is kidnapped by the Horde to bring her back to her husband.
Because despite the fact that he is now a huge alien blob monster,
he loves her.
Grant still loves his Stella.
Yeah, he really does. And it's
Starla.
Yeah.
Stella! Jesus Christ. I just love you so much, man. And then, you know, chaos ensues and the good guys win. Like, let's be honest, we're not going to go beat for beat with this. If you haven't seen Slither, it's worth a watch. It's 95 minutes.
It's, short, fun.
It is.
Funny, gory in a good way.
Yeah, fairly entertaining. It's got a fun ending. You know, there's...
some great practical effects, some great body horror.
Yeah. You know, a lot of people die. The good guys live. I thoroughly enjoyed when the mayor was like begging Bill to shoot him in the head, and Bill just does.
No hesitation.
Well, there's that moment where I couldn't tell if he was faking it to look like he was one of them, or
no, because he got spit on. I think,
right.
Like he was infected.
But just the way his acting was so good when he's still hesitant to eat somebody, and you could tell that part of him doesn't want to do it. But the other part of him is making him do it.
He's so hungry.
And, and him just slowly eating somebody, eating a body. Just every bite he takes into somebody's arm, ripping the flesh off and chewing. It was really fun.
Chewing on a human arm, but with regret.
That's right.
Michael Rooker and the mayor. Like, they chew every single scene that they're in. They are the MVPs of this. Like, the mayor has got all the funny lines.
I would agree, yeah.
He does such a good fucking job. And it's nice to see, again, a character actor who's known for smaller parts come in and be the comedy effect of a film, right? He's there for most of it. They dog on him a lot, which is a lot of fun, but he is great, and he just, you can tell the guy was having the time of his life. Same with Michael Rooker. Michael Rooker, despite looking like a big toe, is just having a ball.
Michael Rooker,
he's having so much fun.
Every role he does, he looks like he's having a blast doing it, especially in James Gunn movies.
Yeah, and I mean, they're old friends. You know, there will always be Michael Rooker and Nathan Fillion and a James Gunn thing.
Yeah, we talked about, like, James Gunn's posse that he kind of travels around and makes movies with, which is really kind of charming.
I mean, we were going to get Nathan Fillion as a Green Lantern, Guy Gardner.
Yeah.
In the new Superman movie next year.
I mean, hell, just what like Nathan Fillion did in Guardians of the Galaxy, because he was in such 3 different roles in every single one of those. One of them, which is so hidden, it's hard.
The Ash, what's his name?
Bruce Campbell.
Bruce Campbell. He's the Bruce Campbell.
Yeah,
because Bruce Campbell was always in a Sam Raimi. He was in all 3 Spider-Man movies, but as different people each time.
So Bruce Campbell is Sam Raimi as Nathan Fillion is to James Gunn.
Yes.
To utilize some like high school English.
But that's how a lot of directors are. They have the guy that they went to high school with, that they hire for every project. Their brother.
In fact, all of us were searching desperately for Sean Gunn in this movie, and we thought we saw him as one of the writhing bodies.
He looked like
as
him.
part of the blob, and we're like, "That's Sean Gunn." And
it turns out
finally showed up.
Not.
It's not. It's their other brother.
But it is their other brother.
Which, I mean, I guess that, in this instance here, you and I are, a married couple that have created this artistic thing, this silly little podcast where we talk about movies. And we've roped in our friends and our beloveds to come be a part of it. We've put our children on it, because being creative with the people that you love is so much more fun. Yeah. Especially when you trust them and know that they're going to have fun things to say, or just be a part of. Like, it's great. It's great. And, I'm never unhappy that Hollywood nepotism works like that to an extent. Like, I'm never going to be like, oh, James Gunn should stop putting Sean Gunn in his movies. Blah, blah, blah. Like, no, I fucking love Sean Gunn.
Really harming anyone.
No.
They get upset because now he's married. I mean, she's been in his movies before they got married.
To Jennifer
Holland.
Yes.
And
she's so fucking good. She's so cute.
And people are just like, oh, your wife's in another one of your movies. Big shock. And
he
it's like,
put fucking his first wife in this movie.
And wouldn't you? Like, if you were a director, somebody who had the power to put whoever you want into your movie, wouldn't you pick
slip in your actress wife?
If somebody that you knew was an actor.
In fact, he wasn't even going to have Jenna Fisher in this movie. And but the person that was playing that role had to drop out because he got a pilot. And so James Gunn was like, Jenna, like, now's the time. And she was so thrilled because she really desperately wanted to be in a zombie movie. And so she was thrilled that she got to be a part of it. Yeah, if you love the people that you work with and that you're creative with and that you are around, put them in your shit.
Yeah. Well, and especially in regards to movies, because, if you're not shooting 20 minutes from your house, then you're gone for how many months at a time.
Yeah, so why not take your wife with you?
Bring in your loved ones.
Yeah. But, I adore James Gunn. I get that he's had a troubled tweet history. 2 of the biggest MCU controversies that broke my heart were James Gunn leaving and Sony and Marvel splitting up before Spider-Man 3 came out. And those were the 2 that I was like, look, if there's a God up there, there's so much fucking wrong with this world. And you need to fix that first. But, also, can we get James Gunn back? Because who else was going to do Guardians 3 the way he did it?
Yeah. Well, and I think it speaks to his actual character and not any of the controversy that everyone, grouped around him. And we're like, we're not
all
doing
the
this
actors were like, we're with James Gunn. We're not going to do...
the shit that he said in 2007... doesn't reflect the man that he is
Which
in 2020.
Which he had already explained
and apologized for.
Went through all of that.
Disney was already aware of all this.
Yeah, everybody was collectively on his side. And I'm so glad he got to come back and finish that story because what a great story. And I'm so glad that Tom Holland went to Marvel and Sony and went, get your fucking shit together. Yeah. And they did. That's my Tom Holland impression, by the way. I'm glad for James Gunn and all the things that he's gotten to do. And I love this silly little movie.
And I look forward to see everything that he has planned for
I can't wait for Superman.
Yeah.
I hope it's better than the last Superman we got.
Well, if you were to ask the internet, they're so upset by the suit. Oh my God, this one frame of the suit just is not what I wanted.
Oh, I hate the internet sometimes.
So Maggie,
Yes,
what
Caveman?
would you rate Slither for a cheesy comedic horror film?
For the reason I saw it in the first place, for the reason I continue to watch it, for all that I've grown to know about James Gunn and love for him, I'd give it a 4. And that's really more of like nostalgia and rose-colored glasses and joy. Like, I mean, it's not a terrible movie by all means.
Oh,
it's not a great movie. It's not like a stunner the way that like Interception is.
Interception?
Interstellar.
It's like a combination of Interstellar and
I would
Inception.
see Interception.
I would see Interception.
That would be
Absolutely.
Inception in space.
Oh, fucking sign me up. But like I'm saying, like it's not the best movie ever made.
Yeah.
It's not the worst. But I love it because of watching it with Jess during her Nathan Fillion phase, and watching it with you just for the fun of it, and watching it the other day and laughing really hard. You know, having Jack come in at the end of it and see the chaos and say, and I quote, "Another Saturday in Ohio." Like my 11-year-old son dropped that little nugget.
That was so good.
Like, yeah, this movie is dear to me, so I give it a 4. What about you, Caveman?
You know, it's pretty much the same exact reasons. It's because of your and my relationship to it, and me seeing it because you had seen it and you wanted to share
Oh yeah,
it with
no,
me.
it was definitely you haven't seen Slither, we have to watch Slither.
I was like, what the fuck is
Yeah.
Slither? And it's absolutely hilarious. The practical effects with the bodysuits and
So
the
good.
body horror, and like the guy getting split in half is great. Guts just falling to the ground is always entertaining.
Splash.
The noise especially.
It is so funny, and to give this movie less than 4 stars just seems wrong.
Yeah.
And it is a little indie film that it was really goofy and cheesy,
Came out almost 20 years ago.
but I think it did all of that on purpose.
yeah.
It was nothing about it was like, oh, this part was
Full of
supposed
itself.
Yeah, and none of it's supposed to be viewed as serious. Like it's space slugs taking over human bodies, and a dumb cop and his
high school crush,
Yeah,
and a
like, have
teenager
to-
they adopted
have
along
to
the
take
way.
over. So
Saving the world.
I think everything that they're presenting in this movie is very fun and accurate.
Yeah.
And I don't know what else to say, but 4 stars.
Yeah. What about you, Jessie, my sweet?
Yeah. I would say, yeah. I was thinking 3.5, but then the nostalgia, the memories that come with it, and it is just a good, fun, I want to laugh, maybe see a little bit of blood.
Yeah.
A little bit of alien slug ooze. And yeah, it's a good time. So 4 for me as well.
Excellent. 4-star across the board. Movies aren't always about how well or how great they are, right? Like, it's not always about your favorite movie or a movie that you love dearly with all your heart is not because it's the fucking Citizen Kane of films. It's because the people you saw it with for the first time. It's because of the memories you've made watching it with your friends. It's the, nothing to do on a Saturday afternoon sort of thing. This is a great movie for the Halloween season.
Yeah.
Because it's spooky and it's fun and it's stupid. And not every horror film needs to be serious and gory and graphic. And not every comedy needs to not have people getting split apart by tentacle monsters. Like, this is, if you haven't watched this movie, and I realize that I don't think a lot of people listen to our episodes if they haven't seen the film. For the most part.
Makes sense.
But if you are listening to this and you haven't seen Slither, like, buy it on Amazon for a couple of bucks or rent it or whatever. Get some popcorn, get a little high. Sit back and just enjoy 90 minutes of just fun. Like, there's no trash.
Clever, witty fun.
Yeah, there's no fat that needs to be cut. There's no, like, it's in and out. You're happier that you've watched it. And it's a great time. So we here at Movie Mingle definitely recommend it.
Yes.
So Maggie,
Yes, Caveman.
I have 2 questions for you.
Kick it.
Somehow Palpatine returned.
My beloved.
Would the presence of Oscar Isaac have made this movie better?
I don't think it would have made it worse, but I don't think that he needed to be there because everybody was so fucking good. So I'm going to say no. Also, because everybody was supposed to be so, like, real and real Americana and, like, just rural, simple folk, you could not put the world's most beautiful man into the middle of that movie and just be like, oh yeah, he's totally a citizen of this town. Like, he
there
is
was
not.
a certain time where I think Nathan Fillion was the world's most beautiful man.
Yeah, and Nathan Fillion could forever get it, but Oscar Isaac is Oscar fucking Isaac. And, like, no, I would say no, I don't think he should have been in that film.
So, second question.
Yeah.
Which role...
Starla. Yeah.
Wow, you were just putting him in all the...
I just love putting him in drag. I just love put him in a dress, don't change the dialogue, don't reference that he's a man with the most perfect beard in the world in a dress, and just let him do his thing.
What about you, Jesse? What role do you think he would have been perfect for?
I could see him rocking the hell out of Bill Party.
He would have been a great Bill Party. Like,
he would have been...
It's hard for me to say to, like, replace the main character with him because Nathan Fillion had the fucking time of his life doing this role.
Yeah,
and you can see
and
it.
he's perfect.
But Oscar would have been
he would have been he would have done his own version, which would have been equally enjoyable.
Yeah, and some of those lines, like, that is some fucked up shit, would have been great coming out of Oscar Isaac's
my easygoing
mouth.
Nature.
Yeah, there's something pleasant about his mouth when he speaks.
All right.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that's been this week's bonus episode on Slither of Movie Mingle. We hope you enjoyed it as much as we enjoyed making it for you. Again, Jesse, thank you so much for coming up and being a part of our dumb little podcast.
You are most welcome. Thank you for having me.
I'm so glad you're here. Thank you for introducing me to Slither and for all the joy of our friendship over the last 23 years. I love you so, so much.
I love you too. Right back at you.
Yay! Whee! You can always follow us on Instagram, Threads, and Letterboxd at movieminglepod. You can email us at movieminglepod@gmail.com. You can find us on our YouTube channel. You can find us on all streaming platforms, which we hope you are rating us 5 stars on. But if not, give us whatever you feel that we need. We love doing this dumb little thing for you. We are very excited about all the spookies to come for this holiday season. And until then, just go out, find your posse, avoid those alien slugs, and go mingle. Bye!
I ate his liver with some fava beans and a nice Chianti.
That the power of Christ compels you! It's alive! It's alive! It's alive!
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
They're here!
Here's Johnny!